Okay. Sorry about that, everyone. So I'm Chris Watson. Jason, are you there? Okay, he is going to be here in just a moment. So let me just get started. I know everyone's time is precious. You're lawyers. So we want to talk today about link building. We want to talk today about link. And the important thing here is that Google really is broken into two pieces. There's on-page factors and there's off-page factors. And the on-page factors have to do with your code and your meta descriptions, title tags, your content, and all of that's really, really important. But there's a lot of misconception, misinformation out there about what link building actually is. And Jason and I have been doing link building for the better part of 10 years, and we're here to tell you that it's not only a good thing, it's an essential thing. You absolutely have to do it if you're going to be ranking on Google. For the most part, the misinformation that's out there, people tell you that it'll get you banned. It'll get you, blacklisted from Google, and it'll hurt your rankings. Yeah, it will if you don't know what you're doing, right? So it's really important to be working with a company or if you're working with an SEO company or whomever, that they really know what they're doing. And it used to be the case that you could link build in a very spammy manner, and it worked. And that was back in the day when you could, we have a ton of videos that we can send everybody explaining the history of link building. These days that just doesn't work at all. Okay, so what we're going to walk you through today is what we call post-Google Penguin updates link building. And I hope that it gives you at least enough information so that when you do work with a link building company, you can look at their links objectively and say, okay, this is actually, you should see it in the form of better rankings for sure, but you need to be able to hold them accountable for the style of link building they're doing. So with that, hopefully we can get past these technical glitches and Jason can start talking.
Chris, can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, now I can, thanks.
Okay, got it. So again, as Chris mentioned, we're excited to be here. For those of you that are joining us from yesterday's webinar, there was a technical difficulty that we had with GoToMeeting yesterday. So I think we're double loaded here today. There's a lot of people out there listening to this, and we appreciate it, and we apologize for the delay yesterday. So with that being said, we're going to get started here. All right. All right, so a couple of things that we're going to talk about today. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to show you why links are important. That's the first thing that I really want to get across to everybody that's listening to this webinar, because links are essentially the currency on the World Wide Web, and I want to just kind of demonstrate that with a real-world case study so you can see the value in which links bring to a website. The second thing that we're going to do is we're going to show you a legal case study of a site that we built. It's a testing site. So one of the things that you have to imagine being in the SEO space is that we can't do testing on our clients' websites because, God forbid, we do something that's wrong. We could jeopardize a client's website. So we have a lot of testing websites that we use, and some of these testing websites rank very highly, and I'm going to share that one with you today. Then we're going to get into the tactics on link building, exactly how we as an agency, Everspark Interactive, go about building links. It's one of our core competencies here, and we're pretty good at it. And we've got about 40 staffers that are here in our Atlanta office that do it for us every day, and we'll get into the actual tactics of how to build links. And then at the end, we'll leave some time for some questions as well. All right, so without further ado, we will get kicked off here. Okay, so this is the best case study that we know of that reveals the Google algorithm basically in a nutshell. When you go to Google and you type in the words "click here," and this has been like this for, golly, probably 10 or 12 years, and it still holds true, which basically tells us that links have always been powerful, and they continue to be powerful. And for some of you that heard me in my presentations before, I might have used this, but it still stands true. So when you go to Google and you type in the words "click here," the site that ranks at the top of Google, it's not number one, it used to be number one, is the Adobe Download Reader page. So some of you might say, well, that's not really about click here. Why does that page rank on Google? Okay, so there's two things that are factored in here that Google's looking at. They're looking at the relevancy. You know, does the page pass the relevancy score? Is this page about click here? Well, in this case, it's not. In this case, they're looking at the other variable, which is the popularity of the page. So the popularity for Adobe Reader is superseding the relevance, and we're going to share with you how that looks. Okay, so before we kind of get into the exact numbers, the exact links that are going back to that page, a couple important things that you should know. The first is over here where it shows PageRank. PageRank is very important. This is actually a patented item that Google came out with back when they were actually developing their algorithm when they were in Stanford. Sergey Brin and Larry Page, and it's called PageRank, and it is a play on words, and it goes from 0 all the way up to 10, and it gets exponentially higher. So this right here just kind of shows you how much more valuable a site becomes when it moves from a PageRank 3 to a PageRank 4, and as you can see, you know, a PageRank 9 or a 10 website, which there aren't a lot of websites that are out there that are a PageRank 10. In fact, Google itself is only a PageRank 9. But in this case, this Adobe Reader page is a PageRank 10. Other important variables, the age of the domain is important. So you can see here that this domain is from 1996. But that's more on page, and this webinar is strictly more about link building, so we won't get too much into the other variables here. Okay, so let's peel the layer from the onion back just one step. So what we're looking at here is essentially the online bank account for that Adobe Reader page. This is a third-party tool that we use. It's not always 100% accurate, but at least gives us enough information to have some empirical data to make, you know, good decisions. So what we're looking at here, there's two important variables that I see. So what I can see here is that there's a total of 14 million backlinks pointing back to that Adobe Download Reader page. Okay, the difference here is that there's only 212,000 unique referring domains that have those backlinks that are pointing to that domain. So let me just show you what that means. So for example, Treasury.gov, right here, this is a government site, it's a PageRank, it looks like a PageRank 8 website. At the bottom of every single page here, it has a link that says Adobe Reader. Okay, so think about it, the value of that PageRank 8 link is very high. We know that from the previous slide. So what this is sending a relevance and a popularity variable or a signal to Google. So it's telling Google that this page is about Adobe Reader. Okay, so that's something to note. But one thing that I just want to make clear is if this Treasury.gov website has, let's just call it 50,000 pages on the actual server that are indexed on Google, what that means here is that the number would be 50,000 total backlinks, but the referring domain for that particular Treasury.gov would mean 1. So basically, it is a lot more important to increase the amount of referring domains that are pointing back to your site and not necessarily the amount of total backlinks.
Right? Yeah, we see that a lot in law marketing, that you'll, whether it be, you know, sponsor a newsletter, or you're in the newspaper, maybe you have an ad in you know, some local journal, and you have a run of site ad, and you get excited because you've heard of backlinks and you think, fantastic, now I get, like, you know, 500 backlinks. You know, first off, if that's perceived to be a paid backlink, that can get you into a little bit of trouble. But usually Google are pretty forgiving when it comes to an ad that's fairly blatant. It's when it's more hidden that they get more anxious. But again, as Jason just said, that doesn't equal 500 links. That equals 1 link.
That's right. And if I was going to get more advanced, if this was going to be like an advanced link building webinar, we would actually start to get into the syntax of, you know, site-wide links, not, you know, no follow links, do follow links, you know, gov links, et cetera, but we'll just kind of keep it basic for now. Okay, here's another telling slide. So we know how many backlinks that they have coming back to their website, 14 million backlinks from 212,000 unique referring domains. Okay, now let's look at what are the anchor texts that people are using when linking back to that particular page. So like, again, in this case, the anchor text would mean Adobe Reader. Okay, Well, here we can see that there's a total of 236,000 backlinks that contain the word click here. 8,500 backlinks that contain the word clicking here. Click here to download. Click here to download Adobe Reader, right? So there's a lot of synonyms as well as latent semantic signals that are being sent to Google that is tricking them into believing that that page, Adobe Reader, it should rank for the word click here.
It's also important to note that Adobe doesn't care about ranking for click here. It's not a particularly valuable keyword. It's more illustrative of that in the absence of any on-page factors, including code and content, they're still top ranking for click here purely on the back of the power of the links.
That's exactly right. And you could even go one step further and you could look at some of the strongest links. This is a different tool that we use. So we can see like Treasury.gov has a citation flow and trust flow. These go from 0 to 100, and these are just kind of the signals that we look at. So that's a very powerful link. They also have a link from CA.gov, another powerful link, right? USA.gov, Avis.com, right? So Avis.com on their entire website, it looks like they use the anchor text click here. So that's passing some really strong value. So, okay, so the whole purpose of that, quick exercise was just to kind of show you the value of a link because it truly is the currency on the World Wide Web. Okay, so now we're going to kind of move into the case study here. As I mentioned earlier, we do a lot of testing. We're not a law firm. However, we do build lawyer websites. This is a lawyer website that we built. Today, nobody owns this, meaning it's like when you dial this phone number here, it rings to our office, actually my office here. But it's a lead generator, and it gets a lot of leads. I mean, this site gets probably 5 to 6 leads a day, and I'll kind of show you how. So a couple things first that I just want to kind of show you. First thing is I just want you to see that this site is not old. We first registered this site back in 2012, specifically on August 13th, so you can see that right there. It expires on 2014. So this is something that we're testing right now because there's a myth that states that you should register a domain for an extended period of time because Google looks at it as a variable. So we're just kind of looking at that as a test at the moment. So for now it's still ranking and it only has been registered for 2 years and it's going to expire next year. So we're going to extend it for another 10 years and just to kind of see if that actually has a true adds more weight and more rankings when we do that. So it's a test that we're doing here. Okay, so let's talk about some of the keywords that this site ranks for. It ranks for keywords like Houston accident lawyer. Ranks number 1. It ranks above sites that are aged. Terry Bryant has been in the industry for years. That site is aged. He's got a lot of links. He's got a lot of citations. He's got a lot of value. He's got a lot more pages than we've got.
He's very active in Google Plus Circles.
He is. He's got 132 people in his circles, right? We basically built this. We registered this site in August. We didn't actually start developing it and launching it until around October. And so realistically, this site is only 6, 7, 8 months old, and it's already outranking him. It also ranks, so that's Houston accident lawyer. It ranks number 1 for Houston accident attorney. It ranks number 2 for Houston car accident lawyer. So this is another tool. I think we covered this in last month's webinar for those that have joined. This is called SEMrush. SEMrush basically assigns a value to a domain based on the amount of keywords that you rank for that have a search volume of more than 10 every month. So it doesn't factor in all of the long tail searches that you get traffic for. It only factors in keywords that you rank in the top 20 on Google that have a search volume of 10 or more. So if you were to basically, and I'll show you that, if you were basically to go out and put together a pay-per-click strategy and rank for the same keywords that we rank here for, like for example, car accident attorney Houston, we rank number 1. Houston car accident attorney, we rank number 1. There's a total of 200 people that search for that every month. the average cost per click is $74.38 per click. So that's money that we don't have to pay to Google to get the same traffic. Some of these are very high. Like, for example, we ranked #1 for Truck Accident Lawyer Houston. That has a cost per click value of $187. That's really high. You don't see cost per click that high. So basically, they factor all that into an algorithm, and they spit out a number based on the percentage of traffic that you get, the search volume, the cost per click, and they come up with that number. And the number for this site is 73,777. That's a lucky number, it looks like, per month. So that's how much money we would have to pay to Google every month if we wanted to get the same traffic. So this is a sign that that your SEO campaign is working. And you could go in and you could put your site into SEMrush to see what the value of your site is. You don't need the paid subscription to do that. But you can see here, let's just look at the graph for a second. So October, again, is when we launched the site. Okay, and they say that it's usually 3 months before you actually start to see any benefit from a new site, because in most cases the site will remain as what is called the Google Supplemental Index for the most part, because you're not really a trustworthy site yet. You're a brand new domain that just got registered. So we started our link building back here. We started adding our content back here, and we started blogging. So eventually kicked in. It looked like we had a value of about $2,000 or $3,000. In March, that went up to about maybe $4,000 or $5,000. Then it jumped up to like $45,000, and it jumped up to like about $55,000, and today it's worth about $73,000. And we anticipate, and we actually that's as of June, and we anticipate that's going to continue to go high. We're never going to see like a hockey stick. Because that would be not a good thing. It would mean that we're going a little bit too strong on the links. Yeah.
And what's also interesting here, and this is going to get I guess a good segue into the next part of today's presentation. This is all during Penguin Update and Penguin 2.0 update.
That's right.
And let me back up just a little bit, just to sort of set the stage. So you've heard a lot about the Google updates, and one of our pet peeves over here is when SEO companies use those as an excuse. They say it's not their fault, the algorithm changed. And I don't want to be so brutal as to say, yes, it is your fault, but I think it is fair to say that unless you can stay on top of the algorithm, you're not really allowed to use that as an excuse. And if it does affect you, that means, well, okay, tell us why it affected us and what are you doing about it. So Panda had mainly to do with content. Okay, so that's where they started to strip out sites that were just writing content for content's sake, not really good quality content. And so that was a major shakeup. That was, how long ago was that, Panda?
2 years.
2 years ago. Yeah, that was quite a while ago. So, you had to write really strong content. It had to be valuable. The rule that we use around here is don't be a salesman. Stop selling stuff and start educating people. So if you're writing law content, think from an educational perspective. Be prepared to have links that are running off of your page, that are reference links to the statutes and the county court and all that kind of good stuff. Google loves that because it's saying you're prepared to educate your market. But the bigger piece that we're talking about today is the links and link building. When the first Panda wave came out, Penguin wave rather, so Penguin's about link building, that was about a year ago, and that really crushed SEO. I mean, that was a moment in time for guys like us where it's theorized that it put out of business anywhere from 50 to 60% of SEOs, and that was kind of a good thing because they were building spammy links. They were hiring teams in the Philippines where they were just piling on 500 links a week or whatever it was. In fact, we went to a show not that long ago in Vegas, and there was a stand a few booths down from us, and I couldn't even tell you their name, but I'm not trying to blow a whistle on anybody, but it's so crazy that their offer for the show, and this was only about, 6 months ago, was they had a 5,000 links per month program that you could buy from them for $3,500 a month or something. It may be not that much, maybe $1,000 a month, as though that's a good thing. They should have called it how to get banned from Google package. And so we find ourselves now in a place where the link building is really, really tight. And you definitely can't do spammy stuff. And the point I'm trying to make right now is that we launched this site with great, credible content, good on-page stuff, and then had the right link building strategy that we'll walk you through now. that was completely permissive, and Google really liked what they saw because the work that we're doing over here is looking into and executing what we call permissive link building. None of it's spamming. It's all allowable, and Google wants to see a relationship between you and everybody else. There's nothing at all wrong with that.
Yeah, and I will say, because pre-Penguin, I mean, some of the best SEOs in the world were doing the we call it abundance link building, where you build a lot of links and you're building links on sites that have high page rank, and you're doing a lot of that. And we used to do that a long time ago, and it worked. And as a matter of fact, when Penguin came out, we saw the writing on the wall, and we started to internally change our strategies because you have to stay current, because we saw sites that were getting penalized and stuff, and it was all over the news, especially the legal news, the tech news. And we actually had clients that had canceled with us because we told them that these links aren't working anymore. We have to stop this. So instead of building you 1,000 links every month or whatever, when that used to work, we're just going to really focus in on building you strong, very powerful links. And they just didn't believe it, and they wanted to do it themselves, and they continue to go out and find link builders that would build them, 2,000, 3,000 links, because they thought the more links that you could build, the better that you're going to be. And that's not the case. So the guy that was selling the 5,000 links, he was just a little outdated in his strategies. He just might not keep up with it, and so, that's a shame. And there's a lot of people that don't stay too current with it. So, okay, let's kind of move on here. So again, these are just some of the keywords that it ranks for. This is just some of them. I think this is probably about 4 pages long. So I just grabbed the first screenshot of that. Okay, now here's something that's pretty telling. Remember how we talked about the total backlinks and the total number of referring domains? So in this case, we have a total number of 84 backlinks coming in from 38 unique referring domains. So what does that tell you? It tells you that you don't need 1,000 links to rank at the top of Google. You just need strong links. You need links that are going to be relevant about your topic. You need links that are going to be within content, and that are just powerful. And we're going to get into the tactics of how we build those links here in just a couple of slides. But again, you can see here that we've got 84 links coming from a total of 38 unique referring domains. Okay, so now this is really important. We talked about the whole click here case study. So here's the problem. Post-Penguin, okay, most sites, back a long time ago, if you wanted to rank for, let's just say, Houston car accident lawyer, well, you would go out and you try to build as many links that you could that say the words Houston car accident lawyer as your anchor text, okay? And usually, the site that has the most links that say the words Houston car accident lawyer, well, that site would historically rank on Google, right? And that worked for years. So everybody was just hiring link builders from all over the world, and they were just building as many links as they could that were targeting the hero keyword. And in this case, it would be like Houston car accident lawyer or Houston accident lawyer. Okay, so that was fine and good, and that worked for a while. And then Penguin came around, and they just crushed a lot of people that were implementing those strategies. So then they had to come up with a tool, and it was called the disavow tool, so that people can go in and clean up their anchor text. And if you think about it, let's even go back further with the Google algorithm. I mean, when Google first came out, the way that you top rank on Google was to write content and include the keyword in the content as many times as you could. So it would read, if you're looking for a Houston car accident lawyer, look no further than this Houston car accident lawyer, because we've got the best Houston car accident lawyers in all of Houston. And if you had the words in there and your keyword density was above, 40 or 50%, there's a good chance that you would rank at the top of Google. But you got to remember, Google makes a ton of money, and they continue to recruit some of the smartest minds in the world, and they get, engineers, and they figure it out, and then they basically clean it up, and they make it a little bit harder. So my point here is that the strategy of just building an abundance amount of links, all containing the word Houston accident lawyer, well, that could harm you. That can get your site penalized. It can get your site flagged. So what you see here is you've got to build a more natural backlink profile. So for every link, let's just say for every 5 links that we build, 3 of them are going to contain www.houstonaccidentattorney.com as the anchor text, because that is the most natural way that you can actually get a link, and it doesn't look spammy at all. So you can see here my diversification percentages are such as which 32% of my referring domains all contain www.houstonaccidentattorney.com, and then 8%, so this is a total of 40% of my backlinks all contain the word, it's a brandable search term. This is how people naturally link back. Okay, the second one would be Houston Accident Attorney, which is 11% of our anchor text diversification. The moment that we start to exceed, let's just say 30% with any given keyword, that's when you start to enter the danger zone and you could get your site penalized. So I'm just warning you today, if you have link builders or if you have an SEO team that is out there building links for you and they're just going and building thousands of links or hundreds of links every month and they're all targeting the same keyword, Dallas personal injury lawyer or Chicago bankruptcy lawyer or whatever, they could be digging you a hole that you might not be able to get out of. All right. So let's kind of just show you some of the links that we've got here. So with the Houston Accident Attorney, this is a site that that we were able to get a link off of. It's obviously about something in the legal space, and at the bottom here we've got a link that says www.houstonaccidentattorney.com. Before Penguin, we would have wanted this to say Houston Accident Lawyer as the link, but not no more. Okay, so that's just one example of a link. Here's another site. This is thelawinsider.com. We built a relationship with them and we wrote a piece of content. We pitched it, and here's one. This is an exact match anchor text link. So this one does say Houston Injury Lawyer. Okay. Here goes one that says, this is on justicefinder.com. This says Houston Accident Attorney. So you can see here, what's the common denominator here? They're all, for the most part, they're all legal type sites. The Law Insider, Justice Finder, all of them contain keywords that are relevant to the topic that we're trying to build the link to. So this is a legal field, so all the content is about the legal field. And then the links are different, like HoustonAccidentAttorney.com, Houston Injury Lawyer, Houston Accident Attorney. So we very cautiously hand select the keywords that we want to use when building, putting together a campaign for a client. Okay, so now what we're going to do, actually, before I do that, this is actually a tool that we built. This is actually a private tool that we use as a management tool. So all of our link builders log in here every day, and they manage their outreach and they manage their links from here, and it's a pretty popular software that we use every day here. So for what I'm looking at here, this actually tells me how many links that we've built to date to the Houston Accident Attorney website that were PR2. So these are how many PageRank 2 links did we build? Okay, it was 11. How many PageRank 3 links did we build? 21. How many PageRank 4, 3, so on and so forth, right? So you can see that we're not building too many links that are all PageRank 4, because if that was the case, again, that would be an unnatural signal. A lot of times people call us up and they're like, "Hey, I would like you guys to build, I'd like you guys to build links for us, but I just want all the links to be PageRank 4 above." And we're like, "Well, we could do that, but that's not a wise strategy because that's not natural. So if every link that we built for you was PageRank 4 or above, well, again, that's sending a signal to Google. It's not natural. You have to have PageRank 2 links and PageRank 3 links, and plus these sites are valuable too. You don't want to pass those up." Okay. Great. So now that you know the value of a link, and now you know that it works, the strategy works based on the case study. Again, the site that we just showed you only had 38 links, only 38 referring domains. So how did we pull that off? How did we build links? And this is us kind of revealing the the big secret.
Yeah, and I also, before you get into that, Jay, it's not all about link building, obviously. For instance, if your site is really slow, and then there's a way to check your site speed. We went over site speed in the last webinar. And say, for instance, you're 30 out of 100 because you know how to test the speed of your site. Well, that one factor, even if you have everything else perfect, is going to shuffle you back to page 4. So while we we talk a lot about links and the value of them. In our opinion, it's in some instances 60 to 70% of what real SEO is. The other pieces have to be done. You have to build your code the right way. You have to have
integrity,
the right content, because if you don't have one of those other things tend not to get you to top rank for competitive keywords. But if you don't have them, no, it doesn't matter how much link building you do, you're going to get messed up.
That's right.
Cool.
All right. So first off, the links that we build are very hard to get. That's why we're not building thousands or hundreds of them. But the links that we do get are good links. They're powerful links. We've got, I mentioned earlier, we can't even keep up with the demand for the links that we're building. Just because we've got so many people that are requesting us to build links for them, and we have training seminars literally every week. We've got 12 people in our conference room that are learning our strategies and that are joining our team just so that we can keep up with the demand. All right, so you got to imagine we've got 40 people that are doing this. The first thing that they do is they use our tool. This is a private tool that we built. It's nothing fancy, but it allows us to find link opportunities. So in this case, if we're targeting maybe a keyword like Houston car accident lawyer, okay, great, we pop it in here, and then we've got all of these hyperlinks that we can click on. And I'm going to focus in on blogging because this is called guest blog post. It's a guest blogging strategy. So if I were to take this and I were to click on car accident blog, it's going to take me to Google. Again, it's not a fancy tool. All it does a search on Google. It's a more advanced type of search. All right. And I'm just making sure people can hear me. It says you may be experiencing network connection difficulties.
Here we go. Let me check.
All right. I think we might be okay. Just stand by for a second. I just want to make sure that everybody can still hear me. If you can still hear me, maybe pose a question. I just want to make sure I look like. All right. I think we're back. Okay. I think we're okay now. My apologies. Never know with technology and the internet, bandwidth. Okay. So anyway, back to my point here. Basically, what we've done here is we've just did a search on Google for car accident blog. Okay, there's 191 million results that came up that have the words car accident and blog contained in it. So here you go, Laurel Hurst blog, right? This is car accident facts blog, right? So there's a ton of opportunity here. So what we then do is, this is just a standard template. You could write your own. We basically go out and we reach out to these blog owners. We go, we look at their who is, we get their contact details. In some cases, we'll pick up the phone and call them, and we build them a relationship. So, for example, we might say, hi, Jennifer, because we know her name after looking at the who is. While I was reading through your blog today, I was inspired to create a couple of articles on the topic of car accidents or on the topic of legal marketing or whatever. I think these articles will fit with the other great content on your site and should really appeal to your readers. The first article is, the 10 reasons why you should hire an attorney after an accident. The second one is, B, whatever it is, right? Please let me know what you think. You can choose one or both of them, and I'll have them ready for you in a day or two. Could you please also let me know about your guest guidelines and your timeline for publishing? All the best, Shelby Warden, who's one of our link builders. So anyway, they are constantly doing this all day long on our behalf and on our clients' behalf. And they're building relationships. And you probably see these emails. You probably get some of these emails, and you probably delete them. And that's okay. We do get a lot of people that delete them, but it's all about the persistence and it's all about the numbers. You'd be surprised. I mean, for every 100 times that we do this, we get probably about 18 to 25 responses back. So those aren't bad numbers, and then we continue to cultivate a relationship, and we strengthen the relationship. We send them thank you cards and all kinds of stuff. I mean, we've got a whole process here. But at the end of the day, once we solidify a relationship, well, we can continue to go back to the relationship and use them again for another client's website, right? So we're building out a very big, large list of sites that we can leverage for guest blog posting. And this is all permissive link building. We're not going to their website and just leaving a comment on their site and spamming their comments. Those were strategies that used to work, and they're considered more like gray hat these days. But they work. They don't work. This is what works. This is permissive. This is them accepting the article, and this is them publishing the article on their site, not us doing it. The thing here, the trick here is that we don't write the content until they actually agree to publish it. So all we're doing is we're pitching topics. And it's almost like traditional PR outreach. This is exactly why you pay $10,000 to a PR agency, because they're doing the exact same thing. They're contacting journalists, and they're trying to get you mentions within the news and the media. Well, this is the same thing, except we're trying to get you links within websites to increase your popularity online. So this is just an example of some of the topics that we've pitched. So you can see here, road debris encounters, quick response, safety tactic tips. Again, that was an article that was a topic that we pitched that got accepted. Texting pedestrians, alarming increasing in traffic accidents, right? So we try to make the titles that we pitch pretty, compelling, and basically, once they get accepted, once they get approved, it usually takes anywhere from, I'd say 15 to, some cases 45 days to actually solidify a link from beginning to finish. And that's because the first thing we do is we build a relationship with the outreach. Once we continue to email them back and forth, they select a topic. We then go out and we write the article. Once we write the article, then it goes to our editing department. They edit the article. It comes back to our team, the link building team. Then the link building team sends it to the owner of the blog, and then it takes a while for them to publish it. Sometimes we got to continuously follow back up with them to make sure that they actually publish it. Then we got to make sure that the link is correct. Sometimes they forget to include the link, so we got to, so it's a very delicate and a long process. But again, rankings are not easy, and if you want to rank on Google, you got to put in the work.
Yeah, I just stepped out to make sure the webinar is working all right.
Yeah,
I don't know if
appreciate that.
did you cover the fact that it's sort of the cross section of PR meets.
I did. Yeah,
meets,
we exactly got
meets
into
link
that.
building.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah.
We have a PR company, and prior to having a PR company in New York, we used to try to get stories. We would sort of contact the New York Times, and we're just two guys, and we're like, we're doing amazing things. They didn't care who we were.
Yeah.
But the same stories were pitched by our PR company pretty much, and bam, because they had the relationships,
That's
we
right.
got tons of press, and it's that kind of thing. The more matured your link building team is, the more it's going to work in your benefit. It's a question of relationships. And I really think that the internet is waking up to this fact now. It's new. And it's when people realize that content is so powerful and your content is good, they're going to keep coming back to the well for more. So this gets back to the notion of your content has to be really strong stuff. You can't just hire a bunch of 18-year-olds just to write whatever and to get a link. You'll get links, but it won't be in places where you want them to be.
And sometimes that's a good point, because sometimes people will go out, to maybe third world countries and try to get them to do the strategy for them, and you could probably get it a lot cheaper. But in most cases, the article that they produce is not grammatically correct. There's misspellings. Google can actually take, there was a tool, I can't remember where it was, but Google can actually take an article and grade it and tell you if this is a kindergarten type article, if it's 5th grade, 6th grade, college, PhD, just based on the grammar, based on the words that are used. So it's very important that the content has to be, somewhat strong. You don't need it to be PhD level, but at the same time, you want it to be at least high school, college level.
Yeah.
This is basically the same tool. This just shows us, this is our dashboard, so we can see how many links that we're building every day. So you can see here in some cases we're building, this is I think just for one client, we've built 15 links that day, 10 links, 6 links, right? So you can kind of see, I think, okay, so and then here's all of the page rank of all the links that we've built. And again, we talked about the life cycle of the link. So first the link goes to open status. Once the topic gets approved by our content team, then it goes to the pitch status, it goes to the accepted status, then we write the article, then we edit the article, it goes back to get approved again, then it gets submitted, then it gets scheduled, right? And once it's scheduled, the last thing that we can't measure is the date that it's published. So anyway, that's kind of the life cycle of the links that we build. Let's see here.
Nursing pillows.
Yeah.
There's a lot of attorneys are into nursing pillows.
No, this is actually, I don't know why I put this in here, but we do link building for Toys R Us. They're a client of ours. And so you can see that we're targeting the keyword nursing pillows, a nursing pillow. And if you were to do that search, you would see a Toys R Us page, probably 2 of them that are ranking, and that's probably because of us.
The law.
Yeah, so I don't know how that got in here. I probably forgot to take it out, so I apologize about that. Okay, we talked about the amount of links that we're building. Okay, this is kind of cool. So this is a tool that we use to actually measure every keyword that we're targeting. So in this case here, we're tracking, I think this is only a couple keywords that I grabbed here, but accident lawyer in Houston was a keyword that we're tracking. It ranks #1 on Google. Before we got started, it wasn't ranking at all. Eventually, it got indexed, and then it started to rank. So it came on, and on March 1st, it was ranking in position number 16. Then it stayed right around the 2nd page, and then looks like the end of April, it dropped down to position number 2 or 3. Stayed there, went up.
I mean, this is an inverted chart. This chart always confuses me.
It went up, rather, yeah. I'm sorry. It went up.
The chart dropped down, but
the rankings went up. Sorry about that. It went up to position number 2 or 3, and then it went down, and then it went up again, and now it ranks #1, right? So we actually measure every single keyword every single day, and we can see whether or not, what does the search query look like in Houston, Texas, rather than, in California, right? So we can see that stuff. We also take a snapshot of the archived top 100 websites that are indexed on Google every single day. So you can see here, we rank #1 for that term, but what happens when there's a Google shakeup and there's an algorithmic update? Well, we can see what sites suffered and what sites actually benefited from the update that Google came out with. Right? Again, this site is just a testing site, so we want to see that stuff. But we do this for all of our clients. Every single keyword that we're targeting, we actually take an archive every single day, so we can go back and see, what are the sites that have. So, for example, let's just say Brian Carr. What is it? Brian Lund Carr. Let's just say that site all of a sudden magically appeared #1, right? Well, we can see that it used to rank number 15, but now it ranks #1. And we could go back and we can reverse engineer their strategy to figure out what are they doing that we weren't doing, and basically just try to reverse engineer their strategy and start to clone whatever it is he's doing. So we got to keep up to date with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, if you're doing, like with the last webinar, we talked about keeping score and tools that you should use and measurements and all that kind of stuff and how to reverse engineer competition. And if you're doing the stuff internally, if you have someone on your staff that is assigned, the task of SEO or link building or content or whatever it is, but improving your rankings, they really have to start at getting good at knowing how to break things down. They have to know how strong or weak you are, but equally as important is how strong or weak is your competition. Because there's some keywords that you're going up against a mountain, and it's going to take you years and years and years to get past it if you're trying to get past a Wikipedia or something like that. Whereas you'd be way better off if you know how to weigh everything and look at everything. You're way better off going after the long tail, hitting it with content, and winning the battles that you can win.
That's right. All right. Press releases are also very important. So I'll just kind of show you how we go about press releases. We'll just go onto Google News and we'll put in like a search query for like car accident. It'll give us some topics that are hot in news. So 7-car crash slowing down Route 287. The curious case of car crashes, 2 lost hitchhikers that were found dead in a car accident in Maine, right? So we find different topics, and then what we then do is we will rewrite that news release in our own words, and then we'll include a comment from our client, perhaps, right? And then basically what we then do is we then publish it on a couple of the press release websites. You can use PR Web. The press releases that we do are the advanced press releases. I think they're $369 per. You do press releases. One of the things that we do here is we also make sure that we link back to the original article that we basically, got this idea from, right? So we're giving them their credit. And at the bottom, we're linking back to our site using the anchor text here, right? So this site is going to get published onto PR Web or Vocus. I think we do like at least 3 a week for some clients. Some clients that don't have that big of a budget will at least do 2 a month. But the more press releases that you can do, the better, only because you will get links back to your website. So this press release will get syndicated across multiple websites that have either an RSS feed or that just picks it up from their site. In most cases, those old news is no news, so a lot of times they drop it. But in some cases, you might get 30 links from a nice, good press release that stick. The other thing too is Google is also measuring how many times you're mentioned in the news. There's a new tool right now that will actually go out and actually see how many times you're mentioned on like newsworthy sites, and it comes up with a score and stuff like that. So again, press releases are good just because it keeps you current, and it's a good link building strategy. Social media, we're by no means social media experts. I will say that the Houston site that we're testing with right now has absolutely zero social media. It doesn't even have a Google Plus profile. It doesn't have a Facebook page. Doesn't have a Twitter page at all. That's not stopping it from ranking #1.
Yeah. But we're also not doing a places play, right? So if it were a location-based business,
that's right.
You'd be crazy not to set.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying that we shouldn't do that. I'm just saying that I'm just telling you that it's not a variable that is adding too much value to the organic side of the picture. And we did that strategically. I mean, it's easy enough to go out and build a Twitter page and a Facebook page, and every time we blog, make sure that we share it. And I mean, that's easy enough to do, but we wanted to see if we can actually get the rankings without it, just to see if we could do that. And sure enough, we were able to. So it just tells us that the signals are not really all that strong from an organic sense today.
Yeah, in fact, I was looking at there's quite a few questions that we have. We're going to wrap it up in probably about 5 or 10 minutes, and we'll get to all the questions, but one person, Adam, asked, will traditional link building be replaced by social and influence content sharing? And I think you're addressing it. All we can speak to is
what is today.
What is happening right now. Will it in the future have something to do with it? Well, right now you can go on Facebook and put in 500 entries in a week. That's not going to affect your ranking on Google. So we're specifically talking about ranking on Google. Same with Twitter, same with LinkedIn. Now the piece that's the variable to keep an eye on is Google Plus Local, because obviously it's a Google property, and it's starting to really take roots and give preferential treatment. I can't see how that wouldn't weigh into it more heavily. If you're an author, if you have a website that's got, call it 200 pages, if all of those pages are assigned to an author, right, and the author is writing pages about Houston car accident stuff, then they're going to have 200 pages that they're the author for, and then if they keep on doing press releases and blog posts where it's connected to Google Plus Local and they're active in the environment, that's got to have a good effect.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not saying that what is happening today is not what's going to happen in the future. Social signals are very important. Especially this big G with the plus sign right here. That's a big one. I would pay extra close attention to that one out of all of these.
That's what I just said.
Yeah. So that's important, but for now, in this particular case study, we're just testing out if we can rank without it.
Yep.
That's all. Okay, video billboards. This is something that is super exciting for us, and let me just kind of paint the picture on how we discovered this. So we have a client, and he might be actually on this webinar listening, and the first thing that he does every morning is he goes to Google and he types in the keyword. I'll just say it: Orlando DUI lawyer. Here it is, Orlando DUI lawyer. And the last thing he does before he goes to bed, guess what he does? He goes and he types in Orlando DUI lawyer, and you can be assured that if he's not ranking at least in the top 3 for those keywords, he's texting,
And he should be.
and he should be.
That's
Yeah.
what he pays us to do. Right?
Exactly, and he's a good friend, and I mean that, just we're kind of kidding, but anyway, stuff like that. When our clients kind of push back like that, it only allows us to be more innovative and more creative, and only makes our agency better. So we actually welcome that kind of stuff. And so anyway, we wanted to see, how could we make it so that every single day that he wakes up, he ranks #1. So we put together just a test. We wanted to see if we can get a video to top rank on Google, right? So for about 4 or 5 months, we really started to, break down all the pieces of Google and break down all the pieces of YouTube, just to kind of see how they correlate and how they basically start to rank videos within the index, the search index, the SERPs they call it, search engine result pages. So we really started to break things down. We created a video for him. We optimized it. We added a description. We got likes. We got views. We got comments. And all of a sudden, it was cool. It was just, bouncing around YouTube. It got high on YouTube. So then we started doing more stuff, and we started to do some more advanced stuff to it. And next thing you know, it got indexed, and it was on page 7 of Google, and it was indexed, and it was like so exciting. So like, okay, let's just do.
It's like a red rag to a bull to us.
It really is.
It's working.
So we're like, all right, that's cool. Let's do more of that. Let's start to push the threshold. And we got it down for 3 months. We just really started to just push it, and eventually it showed up on the first page of Google. And it was like at the bottom. We were all slapping hands and drinking champagne. I mean, whatever we were doing at the time. And then we continued to do more of what we were doing, and it got to be #1 on Google for the word Orlando DUI lawyer, and it was really cool. And then we were tracking the phone calls, and all of a sudden the phone was ringing a lot more, and he could not be more happy. And I'll tell you, ever since we got that video ranking #1, it has not moved from the #1 position, and that was back in October of last year. Obviously, before we rolled it out as a new product, we wanted to make sure that the results were going to stick. So we waited about 3 months before we actually started to roll it out as a product and offer it to our clients. And then we offered it to our clients, and we started to sell it. And we've been getting really good at it because now we know the exact science. It only took us 6 months, but we finally figured it out and we cracked the code.
Yeah, and on that point, like we go to a lot of seminars and shows and stuff, and we sit in the audience, and we're not the easiest guys to have in the audience when the topic turns to how to rank on Google. And I can't tell you how many times we've heard the moment they talk about video, they all sort of dismiss it and say, and I wouldn't say dismiss it, and I don't want to generalize, but we've heard a lot of them say it's about how many. We all know that it's about how many views you have on your YouTube channel. And that's just one of 4 pieces.
That's part of the YouTube algorithm.
Right. And you'll top rank on YouTube, knock yourself out. But are people really searching on YouTube for an attorney?
Some cases. I mean, it is the second search volume, search engine in the world.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's part of the YouTube algorithm. But you're completely coming into a new hemisphere when you're trying to get the video to rank on Google.
Yeah.
Because you're competing with other sites. So anyway, this is just a case study.
Hey, Shaw's on the call.
Hey, is she really?
Yeah.
I love Shaw. She's just so awesome. So anyway, this is a case study we did for InjuryLawyers.com, one of our favorite clients. And I'm not just saying that because she's on the call; they really are. And so anyway, it took us about 35 days or so to take the video, get Michael, who looks very natural on camera, and create the video, optimize the video, and get it to rank. So you can see when you type in West Palm Beach car accident lawyer, we've got the video with a big bright red billboard. That's why we call them video billboards, because these are targeted billboards. They really are. If there was a road that you knew everybody driving down that street was looking for a car accident, you would get a big bright red billboard and put it there, right? Yeah. So that's why we call them video billboards. And then we've got a unique call tracking phone number so we can actually see how many calls that they get from this campaign. And then we've got Michael's picture here with this organic search result here. So I mean, look at it. They're covering probably, it looks like, 50 or 60% of the real estate on the first page. They've got the big top listing here with the indents. They've got the video with the big bright red billboard, and then they've got the first result there. But that's not just it. So West Palm Beach car accident lawyer, West Palm Beach car accident attorney, best auto accident lawyer in West Palm Beach. Now, legally, lawyers can't use the word best, but people still search for it.
Yeah,
right?
That's right. So nowhere on the page or in the video does it
say the word best, but we build links back to the page that use the word best, right? It also ranks for West Palm Beach Auto Accident Law Firm, right? Because people search for law firm instead of lawyer. I mean, I wish Shaw can speak, but she really can't, and but we're noticing a significant higher volume of calls as a result. Okay. So anyway, that concludes this presentation. We hope you find it very valuable. One of the things that we will be doing, I think we're going to post these to our website so that people will link back to it, because this right here is a link building strategy for us, right? We create compelling content, we post it on our site, people watch it, they talk about it, they share it, and we get links. And I will say this, that if you enjoyed this webinar, if you found value in this webinar, our email addresses are going to be here shortly after this slide. I think it might be the next slide. Shoot us over an email. Let us know what you thought about the webinar. Just be candid. If you didn't like it, let us know how we can improve. We're here to learn as well. But if you really got value from it, please, let us know. And what we'll do is we'll put a comment underneath the webinar, and we'll include a link back to your website from our site, which I think is a PageRank 4 or 5. So we'll even pass you some links if you include a comment on what you got from this webinar.
Okay, so we have a few questions to get through. There's quite a few, so I'm going to try to pick and choose which ones. Do directories count and work for link building? Directory. So, for attorneys, yeah, it's not the same thing. There's good directories and there's bad directories. And there's too many of them, frankly. And so the question, we tend to look at a number of the variables whenever we recommend a directory. But Jay, you've done a lot of work with
Yeah, I can speak on that. So there are some directories that I would highly encourage you as attorneys to go pay for. There's general directories, and then there's of course the legal directories. But when you have a company that says they'll build you 1,000 directories for $100, I would avoid those conversations. Mm-hmm. However, there's sites like for example, PR.com is a good directory. There's business.com. Best of the Web is a good directory. The Yahoo directory is one of the oldest aged directories that you can get a valuable link from. There's probably about a good 30 or 40 of them that I would recommend. And then, of course, you've got all of the legal specific directories, your Avos, Justia. I know Justia has a relationship with Cornell University, so when you get a link from that directory, you're also getting a link from an EDU site, a very powerful EDU site at Cornell. You've got FindLaw. I don't know if they have a free directory. I think theirs are paid, and they're very expensive, as some of you probably can attest for. But that's also a pretty good link. So there's some good legal directories that I would also get involved with.
Yeah. How much does it cost to link build? Good question.
So basically, that's one of the things that we do. We also do link building. Again, we showed you the process. We showed you how much work it goes into building links. So we sell links. I guess that's not the proper way to phrase it. We sell content, and we pitch the content on your behalf, and there just so happens to be a link in there. Because people say, well, if you're buying links, that's bad, and Google frowns upon it.
But you know what? We don't really like to sell links per se.
It's not links. It's
it's a strategy. What I was getting at is, first off, we're exclusive for anyone we work with. We don't sell links to anyone if we work with a client in a certain area,
That's right.
and we can't sell you any links. So
That's
there's
right.
that. But we first look at your site and what you're trying to do, and say, okay, you don't need links. And this may or may not be your situation. What you need is research, and you need a site plan, and you need some consultation or whatever.
Yeah.
The only way we would move down a path of ever singularly selling a link is if we can give you a clear path to the link making and having the right effect on your campaign. But it always depends on what you're trying to rank for. I don't mean to dodge the question, but if you're trying to rank for New York lawyer, that's crazy competitive. And if you're trying to rank for back of nowhere lawyer, that's not so competitive. So it all depends. It's a question of firepower, and that's how we base our campaigns. Is how tough are the markets? There's a way to measure and monitor. There's a way to evaluate every single keyword and find out how hard or easy they are, and we set our pricing that way.
That's right.
Next question.
But I would just say that like when we build our packages, I mean, those specific links, they're about $100 each, but we build them into a package that includes much more than just link building.
Yeah. So, but I don't want to sound sanctimonious, but we're not doing these to pitch so much.
They're really not. No, I mean that's
I put that in the email. Is that this isn't about us trying to say, hey, come work with us. It's just this is educational, so let's just try to keep it there. Do you recommend Yext? Yext isn't links. Yext is that's to do with citations, and the citation isn't really a link. Citation is confirming your address. So a citation is when you use them, you create them, so is that it improves your Google Places listing. And as far as that's concerned, Yext, we use it for a few campaigns.
It's a good foundation.
It's a good foundation, right? It's not a bad foundation. It's affordable. It's a one shot, and you can start an account there, and you can hit, I think it's 50 major citations that you can get immediately. It's fairly affordable. But you're going to want to do more. Check out whitespark.ca. Whitespark is by far the best tool that we know of to understand citations and reverse engineer them. The last question we'll take. I think they already answered it. Will traditional link building be replaced by social? Yeah, so.
All right, that's great. This is just, we're going to be doing these every month, these webinars. So our next webinar is going to talk about Google Plus Local, how to set up and how to rank your law firm locally. That's in the 7-pack, in the A through F positions on Google. I think we're going to do 2 webinars. We understand that lawyers are, their time is very precious and they can't always make a certain time. So we'll do the first one on Tuesday, August 21st at 2 o'clock, and then we'll also do it again on Wednesday, August 22nd at 4 o'clock. And then in September, it looks like we're going to be talking about getting a lawyer video to top rank on Google. And that will be, again, we're trying to do it like the latter end of the month. So this is Tuesday, September 24th at 2 o'clock, and Wednesday, September 25th at 4 o'clock. So, and we do have a page on our website, which I think Chris will link out. He'll send an email to everybody that's on this webinar with the page, so you can keep current with our webinar series. Because we'll probably continue this well into the future.
And I think we're speaking soon, too. Are we speaking in October?
We are. We're speaking at Pilmer's Internet Domination Boot Camp. I think it's what it's called. It was an email that went out today. That's going to be on October 25th through the 27th in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. So we're looking forward to that. These are our email addresses as well as personal cell phones. You can give us a call anytime. We're happy to take a look at sites if you feel like you got a site penalized or you just need some advice or whatever. Please give us a call, shoot us an email. And again, if you got value from this webinar, please send us a comment, and we'll be sure to include that on the webinar series and put a backlink there for you.
If you ever get confused on who's who, Jason's the one with hair.